Today I'm happy to bring you the Simmons 22 Magnum rifle scope. This is their fixed 4x scope. Something I've noticed is you can easily find nice video reviews of some of the more expensive rifle scopes, but if you're interested in some of the budget ones, good luck. They're very hard to find really useful information on. And I'd like to try and change that. This is probably one of the cheapest scopes you could ever hope to buy. I bought this back, when was it? I actually still have the receipt. October 19th of 2012, got it from Cabela's. I paid $45, and that's full-blown retail. Just today, I checked BHPhoto, and you can get this scope brand new, shipped from B&H for about $28. They don't come any cheaper than that. This is the box it came in. Cheap little Simmons box, 22 Magnum rifle scope. The specs on it. It's the model 511022, 4x32 millimeters, black matte. In the box it had a little bit of product literature. It wasn't anything special, and it actually did come with scope rings for the price, which is pretty funny. The scope rings were, I think, 3/8 dovetail. They were designed to fit a 1-inch tube. As you'd expect at this price point, they're very cheap rings. They used Phillips head screws, and they just strip so easily. So I'd say just look at the scope as it is, without worrying about the rings. So here you go. For the price, it did come with scope cover caps, a little bikini plastic scope cover, and they don't fit tight, but hey, they do the job of keeping out the dust. And I really appreciate that, especially at this price. I'll put up some of the specs as I measure this rifle scope, the weights and the lengths on the screen here. This is as simple as they come. And I think you can realize this. It's a fixed 4x magnification, so there is no zoom ring. 4x is what you get. At the back you have a diopter corrector, and it's a fast focus. And once you move it, it's very easy to move, but you still have to kind of want to move it. This is borderline where anything really lighter and it would kind of move on its own, but it's good enough. And that's about it. Elevation turret, aluminum caps. It doesn't feel like there's a rubber O-ring that the caps screw down on. They claim 1 click is 1/4 minute of angle, and I'm sure it is, but it's sometimes, yeah, you can kind of feel the clicks. It's a little vague. No real sound to speak of. But I would say with this type of a scope, you're going to put it on the rifle, zero it, cover these caps, and never touch it again. Every so often you might have to re-zero it, but the fact that it doesn't have the best turrets, it doesn't matter. Okay. Just to show you the windage knob, it's basically the same thing. Again, 1 click is 1/4 minute of angle. And now, I've had this on my rifles, a couple of my cheap 22s, and I have no problems zeroing it. It works fine. Again, the clicks, they're very hard to tell a click. It's almost like a friction base, but it is a click. No real sound to speak of. Oh, there's a sound. Not going in this direction, but in the other direction you get a sound. Okay. And there you have it. The optics are actually amazing at this price point. It blew me away. The image is flat. No real color fringing to speak of. The colors are vibrant. Everything is sharp. Eye placement is not critical at all. Very easy to get a good sight picture. Maybe the only one downside is the rear of the scope where you look through this part. It is coated with anti-reflective coatings, but you get a fair amount of light. I don't think I'm going to be able to capture it on the camera. You get a blue light, and you're going to see some of the video that I took looking through the scope. You get reflections back there. It picks it up from the camera, but when I keep my eye and I'm looking actually through the scope, I don't notice it really. But that's one of the things. It's not quite as anti-reflective as some of your more expensive scopes. But like I said, when I use it, I never really notice it. It's extremely light, durable. I'd say for any of your rimfire calibers, this should be perfectly fine. I don't know if I'd put this on a high caliber rifle. You're taking your chances at that point. I don't know if parts start to break. But I've had no problems. I love it. The optics are amazing for the price. You could, if you were expecting that type of optics out of, say, a 3-9, you'd easily be paying $150, easily, and maybe even twice that amount. It's unbelievable. I have tried the Simmons 3-9. Again, they're 22 Magnum rifle scope, and now that one was not good. That had pretty poor optics. But because this is a fixed 4x, it's much easier for the manufacturer to make good optics. And they did. And it's amazing that you can get this for $28. I recommend this wholeheartedly. Best scope you could ever buy for the price. And if you're going to put it on like a little Ruger 1022, like a Marlin Model 60, something along that line, where you're not going to be bench rest shooting and you're just going to hold the rifle, this is amazing value for money. I would highly recommend it. If you're going to be spending around this price point, seriously consider a fixed power, and maybe not so much the variable powers like the 2-7s and the 3-9s. The optics just blow me away. It's unbelievable. This is looking through the scope at a white background. The reticle looks nice. It's very easy to work with, just a crosshair. And the reticle doesn't change size, doesn't do anything fancy, so this is what the sight picture always looks like. A few other things I'd like to mention about this scope. Simmons claims they have parallax set for 50 yards, and now this is very important. With this being a 4x scope, I think it's perfect for shooting things, say, from 20 feet all the way out to 80 yards. You can go farther, but maybe at that point you'd want a little more magnification. So for Simmons to put the parallax at 50 yards, that means throughout that range, you know, pretty close up, maybe 20 feet, all the way out to 80 yards, the image is nice and sharp. It's not blurry. Some of your other scopes, they're going to put their parallax at 100 yards, maybe 150 yards, and that's fine. But if you want to look at something up close, it's going to be blurry. And so I think Simmons was very wise to put it at 50 yards. The other thing is this scope is relatively very light. I put it on my scale, and it came out to 238.2 grams without the scope covers, which is roughly 8.4 ounces. And for a real scope, something pretty sturdy and that has magnified optics, that's pretty light. Now you can go with red dots that are much smaller, much lighter, but I wanted to have a magnified optic. And I have enough rifles that are heavy. It's easy to make a heavy rifle. I think we'll all agree with that. And I've had my fair share of little target rifles, but I wanted to have something that you could actually backpack with, or, you know, just hike with in the woods. Something light. And so I picked up a little Ruger 1022, bought a very light stock for it, and I wanted to have a light scope to go with it, but magnified. Enter the Simmons 22 Magnum 4 times. It's unbelievable. The price, it's very lightweight, and the optics are good. I mean, what more do you want? Speaking of the optics, let's actually look through it now. The camcorder is set at manual focus, it's set at infinity. This palm tree is very close. Then as we look down the street, things are still in focus. Eye placement is very forgiving. You don't really notice much effect of parallax of 4 times. It's very nice. That car down there is probably, oh, I forget what the distance was. It's about 130 meters, I remember now. Very nice. Very nice. Looking through the scope, that little yellow sign is at approximately 100 meters, and the greenhouse is at approximately 140 meters. And you can see as I move the scope around, it's a very flat image. Very flat. No blurring. No darkening of the edges. It's unbelievable the type of glass you can get at this price point, as long as you're willing to accept the 4 times magnification. Now you will see a little bit of blue around the edges. That's reflection. Most of the times when I'm looking through the scope, I don't notice that at all, but the camera's picking it up.
Don't you do that. Come on, hurry up. Come on. Come on. Hurry up.
So there you have it. Now, unfortunately, my good camcorder died, and I'm using an old, bad camcorder. So the optic quality, it's going to look a lot better than you see in this camcorder video review. It's unbelievable. Speaking of which, actually, if I do get myself a better camcorder, I'll redo this rifle scope. It's that good optically that it kind of warrants a better review. I wish I could do it better justice right now, but I wanted to put this out. I hope this little review and show and tell was helpful. If you still have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to get back to you and try and help. Have a wonderful day, guys. Enjoy.